Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while and there is a reason for that, and I'm going to cover that on all the detail it needs in another video. But today's video is going to be a really deep dive into everything that you need to know about Amazon Auto Ads. This video is actually taken directly from my Amazon KDP Mastery course. So if you want to check out the rest of that course and all of the other course content, this is a little bit of a taster of what you can expect from that course. I will leave a link below down in the description. Just a heads up why you won't see any face cam in this video, because like I say, it's been taken directly from my course. But I won't waffle on for any longer, and let's jump straight into the whole reason why you're here, to learn about Amazon Auto Ads. So today's video is going to be all about KDP Auto Ads. We're going to be doing a deep dive into absolutely everything that you need to know about Auto Ads. I have made a couple of auto ad videos on my YouTube channel, and also you will see one very briefly in my KDP Bootcamp course, but this is going to go into an extra level of detail and basically everything that you need to know about auto ads. So we're going to start off with the definition of exactly what an auto ad is. So an auto ad is essentially just a type of KDP ad that automatically advertises your book against certain products and keywords based on your book's data. So it basically looks at the data of your book, whether that's the metadata, the title, and advertises your book against certain products and keywords based off that. So in terms of the book data, like I said, an auto ad will look at the following to determine which keywords or products to advertise against. It will look at the title/subtitle, it will look at the book categories, it will look at the book description, and it will also look at the book's back-end keywords. So these are really important to get right when you're first uploading your book. You can see here in this example of Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO book. We'll be looking at something like the description here and also the title. So we'll see in the title that has the word business. So Amazon know that this book will be advertised well against other products or keywords that are related to business. And it's going to be exactly the same when you look into the description too. It's going to look at just different words and things it can pick up on to advertise against based off this book data. And this is why, like I say, it's very important to take your time with your book's data, as it will allow you to get the most out of your auto ad. The more accurate your book's title, its categories, its description, its back-end keywords are, the more efficient your auto ads will be running from the start. So making sure your book data is as good as it can possibly be before you start running your auto ads is super, super important. So the first thing we're going to cover here, when should you start using your auto ad? This is a question I get an awful lot of time. People aren't sure whether they want to launch it straight away or whether they should wait a little bit of time to launch your ad. Now, in my opinion, the answer should be straight away. Again, it does kind of depend on your circumstances, your budget, your book, but generally I would advise advertising an auto ad straight away. And the main reason being is that auto ads are a great way of finding potential keywords or products that you can advertise against. Because it's an automatic ad, it essentially does everything for you and finds these keywords without you having really to do anything. So launching an auto ad right away allows you to assess the field, as I say, and start collecting data without having to do anything yourself. So let's go through what this looks like kind of step by step. So first of all, you would launch your auto ad. You would then assess the data that comes back from this auto ad. So you maybe let it run for a month, maybe 2 months, come back and assess all of that data. And then based on that data, you would create a manual campaign for your same book. So you're using your auto ad almost like a very wide net, casting that out and then bringing back all the data that's then going to drive your decisions on how you create your manual campaigns. But we did miss a step in the middle there, and that is to optimize your auto ad based off this data. So that actually leads me on very nicely into the next section of this video, how to optimize your auto ad. Once you've got the data back from this initial kind of posting, then maybe the first month, the first 2 months, it's really important you understand how to optimize your ad. We're not just using it to get this data for keywords and products. Yes, that is a benefit of using auto ads, but ultimately we want to optimize the auto ad as much as possible to make it as profitable as possible. So in the second section, how to optimize your auto ad. Now the main way you're going to optimize your auto ad is through the search term data. Now, search term data lets you see exactly what products/keywords your auto ad is spending the money on. So if your auto ad has spent £3, you're going to want to know exactly where that £3 has gone. And that's where you get that information from in the search term data. And this also allows you to remove keywords or products that waste loads of money, which ultimately makes your auto ad more efficient. So if you're finding out that your auto ad, let's just say you had a dinosaur coloring book and it was spending loads of money on a keyword that was kind of related to dinosaurs, but not really, you're going to be able to see that keyword that's spending loads of money and not converting into any sales in your search term data. So it's really good at making your ad as profitable and as optimized as possible. So the way to get access to your search term data, all you want to do is click into your ad group that you can see here. and then move into the search term section. Just press this search terms and it will come up with all the data. And it's going to look a little bit like this. So you can see here on the right hand side, this is what the search term data is actually going to look like. This is dummy data I've made to make it as easy for you to understand as possible. But like I said, in order to optimize your auto ad, you need to see what products or keywords are being spent on without making sales. So for this example here, in this dummy data, I have only used keywords, but obviously in the real data, you will see certain products that are coming up here. And for those of you that don't know exactly how search term data works in auto ads, all this basically means is the auto ad will essentially test loads of different search terms or keywords and see how they perform. So in this example, the auto ad has seen that some people are typing in the word animal book. So the auto ad has placed our book against this search term here, and it's ended up spending $2.30. It's got one order, which obviously equates to $6.99 in sales, with an advertising cost of spend of 32.9%. So all the ACoS of 32.9%. So that's what this data basically means. But you can see here in this example, all of these search terms are kind of doing their own thing. But what I really want to highlight here is the search term animal fun. So let's just say this is the data for an animal coloring book. The term animal activity book has converted to an order, and so has the term animal book. But the term animal fun has spent $7.80, got us 0 orders, so therefore 0 sales too. So this clearly is a keyword that isn't relating very well to our book. And it's going to be a keyword that we don't want to be advertising against, because we can see here, we're just spending loads and loads of money without actually getting any orders in. And this is why it's really important to access this search term data, as we can now move this animal fun into what we call our negative keyword section. So a negative keyword is just a keyword that you specifically don't want your auto ad to target. Because the ad is automatic, it's very, very broad. You do sometimes have to tell it manually that you don't want to target certain search terms, because this has been proven to not convert very well into sales. We want to just add this as a negative keyword, which means going forward, this customer search term is not going to be used in our auto ad, hopefully making our ad more efficient. So like I've said, adding animal fun as a negative target will prevent us from wasting money on this keyword. We don't want to spend any money on it because you've already spent $7.80, got 0 orders back from it, 0 sales, and we just don't want anything to do with it at this point. So looking further down the line, you can see here our total here, we spent $13.90 with a 99.43% ACoS, which is actually very, very poor. But going forward, let's just say hypothetically, we've added this animal fun as a negative keyword, so we're no longer targeting it. That exact same data actually brings out a much more profitable auto ad. All we've done is just got rid of this keyword here. Everything else in terms of this data is exactly the same. You can see now, rather than spending $13.90 and getting 2 orders, we've only spent $6.10 and got the same 2 orders here with a much more profitable ACoS. So you can see how having access to this search term data and adding these search terms as a negative keyword can make your auto ads a lot more efficient and a lot more optimized. So another way you can optimize and make your auto ads more profitable is by changing your ad placement. So this is the view you get when you access your auto ad placement section. Again, on the left hand side here, just look for the placements tab and you will see a screen like this. And what it basically shows you is the 3 areas in which your auto ad places your book advert. So it can be either in one of 3 places. It can be the top of search, it can be in product pages, or it can be in rest of search. And you can see here the different metrics that are brought about as a result of these different placements. So you can see from this example, this actual ad performs much better in top of search. You can see we spent £33 and got 16 orders with an ACoS of 29.16%, which is actually, for this example, profitable, where the break-even ACoS is 36%. So actually we're making money on this ad placement here. However, you can see here when we advertised on product pages, we spent £9 and only got 1 order with a 129% ACoS. So this is categorically extremely unprofitable. So what we want to do with this in order to make our auto ad more optimized and more profitable, we want to make sure we're kind of just spending and continuing to do what we're doing here with our top of search ads, but not spend any money on our product pages. So with this in mind, what should I do in this case? So like I've said, as you can see, the top of search is profitable at a 62% cost per click. So this is the amount it costs us basically for a customer to click into the ad and hopefully stay and buy our product. However, you can see here the product pages is really unprofitable at 45 pence. So we're going to want to try and keep this as it is at 62 pence, but we're going to want to try and lower this much lower than 45 pence, because at the moment we can just see it's just not profitable. So the way to do this is to reduce the default bid of the ad. You can do this by going into the campaign settings here to 31 pence, which will basically mean that we're spending 31 pence or below on all three of these areas. However, what you can do is you can change the bid adjustment percentage here by anything up to 900%. So what we're going to want to do here is, because we want to continue bidding 62p on this top of search, if our default bid, which it is now, has been changed to 31, if we adjust our bid here to 100%, this basically means we're allowing the ad to spend 100% more than our default bid of 31p in order to rank on top of search, which, as we know, with 62p cost per click is still profitable. And with this in mind, because our default bid is 31p, we're never going to spend more than 31p in this product page. So we're either going to be spending much less per click, or we're going to get sufficiently less clicks, which we're not really too bothered about anyway, because this was never profitable in the first place, while still retaining and protecting that 62p cost per click, which we've already seen to be very beneficial and very profitable from our ACoS. Now you can apply exactly the same logic to the match type section. So again, if you just go into the auto ad campaign, go to the targeting button here, just above search terms. So the same way you access the search terms data earlier on, if you just go into targeting, you'll get a very similar view here, but just with different match types. And this is very, very similar to the ad placements that you've just seen here. You've got the bid for each specific match types, and you've got loads of different metrics here. The only difference with this is you can actually manually change the bids yourself. You don't have to rely on bid adjustments. So these are actually easier to manage. You can see here, for this example, with a close match, we have a cost per click of 55p and a 34% ACoS, which is profitable. So we're going to want to keep that if we can. Maybe we can lower this if we want to, but generally speaking, as it is, it's remaining profitable. On the other hand, in terms of substitutes, it's not being very profitable at a 70p bid with a 62p cost per click. So if we want to, we can just lower this down manually to something like 50p or 40p or whatever, and just keep this bid as it is, and the same with these two ones. So it's exactly the same logic as we've just seen in this placements tab. The only difference is it's actually easier because you haven't got to do any maths in terms of bid adjustments and percentages. You just manually go in and change the bid. So there are two ways you can optimize your ad, through both altering the ad placement and also the ad match types too. So this moves me on now to the final part of the video, where we're going to be talking about the best bidding strategy for your auto ads. This is a very common question I get a lot of the time when it comes to how to properly set up your auto ad campaigns. So you can see here on the right hand side, there are 3 different bidding strategies that you can use for your auto ads. And in my opinion, there is no ideal bidding strategy for everybody. It all depends on how much budget you have to play with, and also kind of what book you're doing and kind of your goals with your advertising campaign. In a nutshell, if you don't want to spend too much money, I would generally recommend starting with dynamic bids down only, because it basically means you set a bid, let's just say 30p, and it basically means that it's never going to bid more than that 30p. It's only going to be down from that 30p, hence the term down only. So if you want, just make sure you're not spending too much as a beginner. I would recommend the dynamic bids down only. So here's a bit of a visualization of the difference between down only and up and down. The reason why I'm only including these two is fixed bids. I've never really used them myself, and I never really see anybody using them. And to be honest, I don't see why you ever would use a fixed bid. This basically means you have a certain bid and you would never ever deviate from that. I think it's always good to have a little bit of variation in how much you're spending on your bids. So I'm going to focus mainly on these two here. So in terms of visualization of down only and up and down, let's just say we had a default bid of 50p. If you're using dynamic bids down only, you're only ever going to be bidding 50p or less for this advertising space, because you basically set your default bid at 50p and you've said, Amazon, I only want to advertise if the winning auction bid is 50p or anything under that. So you're going to be operating within this kind of area here, anywhere between 50p and 0p. However, on the flip side, if you choose the up and down, it basically means that Amazon are prepared to raise your bid of 100% in real time when the ad may be more likely to convert into a sale. So again, if you have our default bid of 50p, we're basically saying, okay, Amazon, here's my default bid of 50p, but I'm going to allow you to increase that to anything up to £1 if you think it's more likely to convert into a sale. So this just gives Amazon a little bit more flexibility and also allows you to capture maybe some higher bids and some higher value customers who are looking to buy your book. So with this up and down, exactly the same bid is going to give you a variation of anywhere between £1 and 0 pence. Whereas if you use down only, you're only ever going to be going below your default bid. So in terms of down only, with this bidding strategy, you're essentially going to be spending less money, but you might be missing out on some profitable keywords or products that are more expensive. Very in demand, very popular keywords generally will have more people bidding on them, and therefore you need to have a higher bid in order to convert. So if there's a really, really useful keyword, there's bang on what your book's about, but the average cost per click for that keyword is something like 70p. With a down-only bidding strategy, you're not going to be able to rank for that keyword. So you're going to miss out on potential sales that way. But on the flip side, you are going to be spending less money, which if that's what your strategy is suggesting you want to do, that is good for you. But you have to remember you might be missing out on some more profitable keywords or products because you're only using down-only. But on the flip side, with up and down, with this bidding strategy, you will spend more money. So if your plan is to be quite frugal with your ads, I wouldn't recommend the up and down strategy. But with that said, you are more likely to find the optimum bid for many products on keywords. So because your ad is going to be constantly testing loads of different prices for certain keywords, over time, eventually that data will settle and give you an average cost per each keyword. So this just gives you the flexibility and gives you a little bit more data to understand exactly where you should be pricing your bids for certain products or keywords. But hopefully that helps you understand exactly which bidding strategy is good for you. Again, there is no ideal bidding strategy. It all depends on your budget and kind of what you want to be doing with your Amazon ads. So with that in mind, if you have the budget, I would generally recommend going for the up and down bidding option. You have to remember that you can also set a budget every single day. So although you might be going over your default bid of 50p, if you just set a daily budget of something like £4, you are guaranteed to never spend more than that £4 anyway. So you can still rein it in and be very careful with your spending. But again, going with a down only is also a good place to start if you don't want to spend too much money. It all depends on how much experience you have with Amazon ads, how much money you have, and kind of what you want to be doing with your ads, like I've said many times already in this video. So that's everything in terms of the KDP Auto Ad Deep Dive. I'm going to summarize the main points here at the end. So the best way to get the most out of your auto ad is to make sure the book's data is as accurate as possible. Going all the way back to the start of this video, remember that all of the auto ads uses your book's data to position your book against certain products and certain keywords. Making sure your book's data is as accurate as possible also makes your auto ad as efficient as possible. Secondly, auto ads are a great way of making initial sales and also allows you to start harvesting ad data straight away. Over time, auto ads can also be made more efficient by adding negative keywords, as well as altering bids on placement and match type. So that's that percentage increase like we spoken earlier. And also adding negative keywords to prevent you spending on keywords that are basically just rinsing you and not making any sales for your book. And then finally, there is no perfect bidding strategy. Going back to what we've just seen here, it all depends on your budget and how aggressively you want to market your books. As a very blanket statement, as a beginner, I would recommend going for down only. But if you have a bit more experience and a bit more budget, I would recommend going for the up and down.